So this mask will be transformed from basic to epic in this Halloween themed video. Happy Halloween everyone. Let's get into it right now. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to mask up these side bits and then I'm going to paint the mask white, because as you can see this is all just real heavy black. I'd rather do a nicer gradation and also work in some of the teeth. So I'll just quickly mask these up so we don't get overspray on them, and I might put a bit of tape along the back here so it doesn't blow through on the strap, and then we're ready to paint. Stick this on there using my fingernail just to go around, and this is a pretty sharp blade. Just follow that crease. And there you have it, masked up. Do the same on the other side. Done. And then I just want to tape up these holes so I don't get any overspray in there. So just using some 2-inch, flip the mask around. I'll leave the strap and just stick that on like that. There we have it, all ready to go. This is like a rubbery material. I'm going to be using the KALEIDO paint and see how that works. So I'm going to use a bit of thinner. Don't know if you can see, but I've just put some of the thinner in the cup first, and then I'm just going to add some of the white, give it a shake, and now start spraying it on. Basically to eliminate that black. You can see I'm getting a blue shift because I'm spraying the white over a darker colour, but I need to build this white up. In hindsight I probably could have left it unthinned, seeing as this paint is also designed to be used straight out of the bottle, but usually white's very thick, so I thought I'll try it thinned, see how it sprays. I mean, it sprays really nice, but I'm not getting as decent coverage as I think I would have had I have just kept it straight out of the bottle. Just dusting over a bit more, doing a few more coats. So just letting it dry in between each coat. Turn down the PSI a little bit just so that I can flood the paint on a bit more. Once this thinner mix runs out, I'm going to run the paint as is, just straight out of the bottle. I should have done that to start with. It would have given me a bit more coverage, but I'm just new to using this paint, so still getting used to it. I've also been using a heat gun to dry in between coats. So doing another coat, this time not thinning the paint. We'll see how that covers. Yeah, that's much better. So again, like I said, should have done that to start with, but this paint really does flow nicely straight out of the bottle, and if you want coverage, then don't thin it. Okay, so that's enough white on there now. I've let that dry. Now this paint is really strong. I can't even scratch that off, and flexible as well. So this is like a foam, rubbery foam, and that's pretty good considering I haven't used any primer. What I'm going to do now is, using this sepia mixed with black, I'm going to water this down even further using some Trident reducer, and this is a Trident paint, this one. I would have used the KALEIDO, but I like sepia, and for this purpose I think it'll work best. And what I'm going to do is just do like a brush wash on it, then filling the rest up with the Trident reducer. Make it extra thin, give it a stir. can see that's nice and thin, and I almost dripped it on the mask. Great. Clean that up before we get on to the next step. Okay, we're going to get started with the washing. So make sure it's nice and thin and just dab it in the crevices like so. You want to keep it wet, and then we will have another brush which we can just dip into water and then literally brush that over, and then we can rub that off. So you've got to keep it really wet. And what I'm going to do is, using a baby wipe, just wipe over it. That should start sitting in the crevices, and you can see we're getting a more of a realistic appearance on the skull. And just repeat that until you're happy. Might actually work better if I just do that. Add a bit more water. So it's a messy process, but a bit of fun. Go, and if I dab it, then we're getting that sort of pitting happening in there, which is what I'm going for. You can even then come in and hit it with the baby wipe again and sort of get those highlights to pop out. Remember, I'm still going to airbrush over the top of this, so this is just really to get that base looking more realistic than stark white. Do the same in the nostril. So basically all of the darker, deeper areas. And probably just going to have to rework it a few times. Add a bit of water. So just switching between water and brush, 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 brush. Get in those gaps. So this step, pretty much just keep going until you're happy. And kind of dragging the wipe in different directions so it looks a bit more natural. It's looking better. Just want to get a bit more in here. This time dabbing it. You can see that way it's leaving more of that paint in the crevices, and it's also giving it an overall texture of bone. Much better. Now I'll just repeat along the rest of it. Give it one more coat. You could almost get away with just doing the brushing technique without the need for airbrushing, but I'm going to add the airbrushing as well. Just even that out. Make sure we're getting in all the areas. You can see it's a lot more realistic looking. What I'm going to do now is with the clean wipe, it's going to hit some of these areas and brighten them back up again. Same as here on the teeth. So just imagine where the highlights would hit, and that'll naturally happen because you're moving along the top surfaces. You can see there how it's giving a really cool effect of bone. So you want to do this before it's totally dry. Kind of creates a bleaching of almost of the bone, which is really cool. I'm pretty happy with that. Let that dry and then we'll go on to some airbrushing. Now back to the Kaleido paints. I'm just going to use black and do all the shading, the dark shading. Now you could use the same sepia brown mixed with black, but for this one it's just a basic mask for my daughter for Halloween. She's going to be really happy with it the way it is, so I think the black will just get the job done. If you want to spend more time, by all means just add in more shades. I am going to use a bit of airbrush thinner and add the black in and then mix it in the cup. So starting in the darkest spots, now you can see bringing that airbrushing in gives it another dimension. So just think about where all the shadows are and work with that. Adding some shading around it as well to make it look a bit more realistic. And just a little bit of texture here and there. It's actually really enjoyable to paint 3D objects because you don't necessarily have to draw, you're just really rendering and bringing the object to life by using shadows and leaving highlights in this case. And working in the teeth. Remember, if it's a bit uneven, it doesn't matter. It is a skull at the end of the day. You've got to keep in mind that when you're painting, you are painting a 3D object, so overspray is going to travel, so you need to angle your airbrush accordingly. You can see a lot of the work has already been done for us since I did the wash. Bit of shading down there, around the edge. And those back teeth, we can shade them. And a good way to see how you're going is squint your eyes, and that cuts out all of the detail and just shows you the shapes and shadows. See, that looks pretty cool. Just going to unmask the back of it. There we have it, a much more detailed Halloween mask ready for trick-or-treating. So to continue your learning, be sure to check out some of the other videos that I've got listed here. And if you want to fast track your learning, then check out our online airbrushing course at airbrushasylum.thinkific.com.